In this video, we're going to talk about how entrepreneurs think and how entrepreneurs make great decisions. All right, I'm going to talk about three things in this video. One, which is absolutely what you have to do before you go into any business relationship, like critical. The 5 habits that successful people use to be thinking and decision making. And the last, I call it design your divorce while you're in love. Let's get started. Okay, number 1, what's that one thing that is absolutely critical that has to go in every business decision? It's due diligence. You have got to understand due diligence. So in my Millionaire Maker book, I actually have the 5 Ds of due diligence. And how do you do due diligence? Sometimes, a lot of times, it starts with a background check of other people. It starts with just an industry assessment. Like, what is the industry that you want to go into? It starts with the team. Like, do you even want to be in business with this person? And I'm going to go down to the basics of just trusting your gut, like that gut check. Is this somebody I want to do some business with? Other due diligence is run the numbers. And now if you're listening and saying, Laurel, I have no idea how to do any of these things you're talking about, stay tuned. At the end, I'm going to give you some resources that are going to help you really go through a due diligence checklist and help understand. Because, what I see from where I, look at the world, too many people just run into business together. And women, I swear God put me in a woman's body to pick on you because I am one. I watch you do the girlfriend thing. Oh, let's do business together because we're friends. Well, you know what? You got to do business because you have great skill sets together, right? So you're not looking at your friends and family because you want to do something together. And in fact, I really take a really hard look at due diligence and say, do you really have the right? I've just seen families do it. Like, does your family have the right skill set? Or are they willing to learn other skill sets so the collective business can actually run? Like, again, you're going to need somebody that has marketing skills. You're going to need sales skills. You're going to need accounting skills. You're going to need fulfillment skills. You have customer service, technology, you have all these things when you look at a company. So what decisions inside your company do you need to be looking at? So the first thing is due diligence, and most people don't do it, right? So as you're looking at making these decisions, you say, what do I need to be thinking about? Due diligence is imperative. At the end, I'm going to come back and I'm going to circle around, give you a review, and give you an amazing gift, so stay tuned. All right, let's talk about how you think and make decisions. It's so critical. So thinking is just a huge part of it. I'm going to talk about 5 habits in the context of thinking. So what is your big, hairy, audacious goal? Right? Again, I've talked about having a business plan and I've talked about having your vision and mission. Big, hairy, audacious goal. Jim Collins wrote about it in an amazing book called Built to Last. And some of the most extraordinary disruptive companies have come from having big, hairy, audacious goals. The other thing is you got to be a learner. Always have a mentor. I've had a mentor since I was 17 years old. I cannot imagine running a company or business finance without having somebody who has been there and done it. I've been an 8-figure earner for decades. But before I was an 8-figure, I was 7-figure. And before 7-figure, I was 6-figure. So make sure that you have someone that's guiding your ship. To just go out there blindly by yourself, that is the highest form of risk that I could even tell you. So number 3 is having a revenue producing day. So what's interesting about our culture, and this is a worldwide problem, is because we're taught that money comes from a job, you don't grow what I call revenue producing muscles. So one of the greatest habits, in addition to having a mentor, having a big, hairy, audacious goal, is get to revenue fast. If you've ever watched Dragon's Den or Shark Tank, what's the first question they ask? Have you made a sale? So you've got to get to revenue fast, and you've got to, as the owner of your company, you don't have to do the sales, but you have to have the team and you've got to drive it. I call them revenue producing muscles. Do you have revenue producing muscles? Do you get up every day? Are you looking at dashboards that show your sales, show where those sales came from? Which marketing initiative drove those sales? Was it an ad? Was it a social channel? Was it an event? Was it just, live walk through traffic, whatever your business is? It is imperative that you start generating, as the owner of your company, revenue producing muscles. And then you've got to start building this massive network of other experts. You're not going to do this by yourself. By the time you get to 6 and 7 figures, you're going to need to hire a team. So this network of experts become your team. So those kind of 2 and 4, but they're very distinctively different. Here's what happens to new startup businesses. You hire what you can afford. So I want you to start noticing where you're hiring what you can afford versus hiring who you really want. And instead of compromising, I'm going to tell you, let's go produce more money and let's go create new revenue. Let's generate more strategies. I've taken people literally making 5, 6, 8,000 a month to 20, 30, 40 a month like that. There's only a few strategies you have to do. You've got to be willing to do them. So as you develop this expert network, I want you to think about, I want to hire that lawyer, but I can't afford him today. You better put them in your directory. I want to hire that CPA. And by the way, CPAs and lawyers sometimes, unless you are accredited or high net worth, they won't take you. That doesn't mean you walk past them. Here's how I treat them. I can't wait to be your client, right? To me, I just take that as a challenge. Wait till I'm, making enough money. So just really watch that. A lot of times your business is going to fail because you don't hire fast enough. You hire substandard work versus who you really want, and you don't keep that directory of information. Like I remember being 21 years old and Bob Proctor told me, you need to hire this person and this person. And that was exactly what happened to me. They looked at me and they said, you're so young, you don't even make any money. Like we only work with, highly experienced people. I kept their information and I got there as fast as I could. I hired him at 27 years old. It took me 6 years, but I hired him. So really important networking, expert networking, and keeping that information in that directory. Your team is critical, and your team is what I call in the business team, who's working side by side during the day. And then there's the on the business team, who's looking at the strategy and really keeping you with a more macro view of your world. So thinking and decision making are critical. Here's what I am going to say: experience. Time and experience. That's just why I always have mentors. I want mentors who are going to guide me, avoid costly errors, open up that directory and Rolodex as fast as you can. But I can tell you, as an entrepreneur, how you think and how you make decisions will be the life and death with you. It will. So this last one is so imperative. But before I do that, I want you to comment on just your thinking and how you made decisions. And I want you to share some stories, actually. I not just comments. I want stories of the worst thing that you've gotten yourself into. Like the worst partnership, the worst agreement that you ever got yourself in, how you got ripped off. Maybe you were the ripper offer. I want some fun engagement and some fun stories, because this next one, third, which is critical, design your divorce while you're in love. So what do I mean by that? Most people get into business and they're in love. Like I meet you at a networking session, or I meet you somewhere, somebody introduced, it happened last night. Somebody introduced me to some great guys that are algorithmic designers of cryptocurrency. Cannot wait to do business with them. We're designing our divorce. So here's where I stop, because I have a lot of experience. I'm going to say, what entity are we going to do and what's our operating agreement? If I'm going to bring money and you're bringing brains, how are we going to work together such that when we divorce, a year, 2 years, 3 years, however long this business lasts, we actually are going to stay friends? What a novel concept. We're not going to have a war. We're not going to court. We're all going to be healthy and happy, and we're going to make a lot of money together, and then we want to do a next venture. So what that takes is to stop in the beginning where you're all excited, especially you women. You get all excited about a deal, but you forget the operating agreement. I am a master at operating agreements. What's the deal? What's the documents? How are we going to exit? It's called a buy-sell agreement, right? How are you going to do evaluation? How are you going to spend the money? How are you going to make the money? All of this happens in a design, what I call an operating agreement. So design that divorce. You're going to have breakups, right? So I use design your divorce while you're in love as a fun way to say, get an operating agreement with every business partner. Think through them thoroughly. If you don't know how to do that, I do. I actually love that conversation. I love prenuptials. Whatever you did to yourself, agreements are critical and they have to be in writing. There's no such thing as this handshake thing. I guarantee you it will not hold up in court. So how do we think? How do we make decisions? Smart. Due diligence, operating agreements, serious stuff, folks. All right, so I never give this away. Well, I did once. So my team is going to be like, click on the link below. I'm going to give you my Design Your Divorce While You're in Love contract. It's the actual outline and steps of how you start working through a business relationship. How do you think about it? How do you decide about it? And what are the guidelines that you actually go through to design this divorce while you're in love with your future business partners?